All right, and we are live, Ken Cooley.
Woo!
The first podcast, sir.
What were we thinking?
Oh, I don't know what we were thinking. Live to the masses right now on YouTube. So, you and I,
Who are you, first of all?
well, my name's David Cobb.
I'm Ken Cooley.
This guy's Ken Cooley over here. We are members of St. Clair County Sunset Rotary Club. We're in District 6510, which is in Southern Illinois. We are going live from O'Fallon, Illinois. We're about 20 minutes outside of St. Louis, Missouri. So you might get some themes from the local area here as part of our podcast. We'll see how that goes as we move along. But first thing is, let's dive into you and I talking today. So
about Blues hockey.
No, not about Blues hockey. The Blues season just ended about an hour ago. Congratulations to the Nashville Predators. Good luck as your Stanley Cup adventure continues.
Yeah.
And actually, it's good that you brought that up here because not only are we going to talk about Rotary things, but we'll talk about good things that go on in the community. And one of the things that's happened around the St. Louis area lately is a lot of rainfall and a lot of flooding. And it was interesting that during the series between St. Louis and Nashville, that the Nashville Predators actually stepped up and partnered with the St. Louis Blues to help raise money for the flood victims. So again, just kind of the common theme that you'll see as part of this podcast is there's some good things that go on out there, and sometimes they go unnoticed or don't get as much attention as they probably should. So that was a good thing to see, two competing teams coming together to help people in our local area that were affected by flood waters. So if you don't mind me starting here, Mr. Ken Cooley.
Oh, please, by all means.
Why did you become a Rotarian, sir?
Oh, boy. That's an excellent question. I was sitting on a couch one day, kind of minding my own business, thinking about, how I can change the world and how there's no more heroes left in the world. And where's Superman? That's my question. Where's Wonder Woman? So we were on the couch, and there was this guy who's a St. Louis shoe man. And what this guy does was he was collecting used shoes and bringing them to like third world countries and creating a job in those third world countries. They were reselling these used shoes. They were having people employed, as well as taking the profits from selling those shoes and building clean drinking wells. And so I was like, I was absolutely floored by it. This guy is one guy able to make a difference, not only in the community, in our community, but in the world and in these third world countries. And so I was on my couch and I was like, Jesus, that guy can do something. Maybe I can do something. So I started looking for an organization that I thought could benefit from my little sort of crazy ways of trying to come up with fundraisers and do that. And I had a friend who was a chiropractor, Shelly, who kind of said, hey, I know this crazy group of Rotarians. And I was like, what is a Rotarian? And was very nervous about, everything I've ever heard about Rotarians was, right. Like a stonecutters society from The Simpsons, secret handshakes and everything else. So I thought it was really cool that we ended up, I went to a couple meetings and I think I went to our first social, which was at the horse racing track.
Okay.
I am a sucker for horse racing track. So we went in and met a lot of nice people and started hearing some stories about a lot of the good that we did in the community. And I decided to join.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So our club that we're members of, every first meeting of the month, we go out and we do a social event, and we go all over the county. And sometimes we've gone outside of the county in the local area, and just kind of a way to get our club out there, get our names recognized as Rotarians and the St. Clair County Sunset Group, as well as try to identify maybe some needs that we might not be aware of. And it's a great opportunity for people to come and just kind of in a relaxed setting, not in an official meeting, to come check us out, hang out with us, get to know us in a casual environment,
Yeah.
and see if they want to join the club. Because, going to a meeting, you can kind of get to know people a little bit, but it's not as good as just sitting down and talking, maybe having a drink, having a bite to eat, and just kind of figuring out, hey, no pressure situation. No official 4-way test, no official business meeting, no official club business. Let's get to know who these people really are.
You get to see how crazy people actually are in person, as opposed to a meeting setting.
Right. You're a little more of an intimate setting, one-on-one, a lot more chances to talk.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a lot of fun. So I got to meet a lot of interesting people, and what really got me were the stories of the stuff that they were doing in the community at the time. And so I was like, they always say the power of one against the power of 100.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, if you're in a bigger group, you can get a lot more done. And so I kind of that's how they sold it to me was, hey, we do a lot in the community. Come help us.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, what about you?
Well, my story is I worked with a gentleman named Bill, and he invited me to come to a Rotary meeting. And in my previous adventures, I had been to a couple Rotary meetings, but that was more along the lines of going along as technical support for some speakers at club meetings. A boss of mine, he would go around and talk to clubs. I think I went to 2 or 3 meetings with him and kind of set up the computer and just kind of was at a Rotary meeting.
Yeah.
Didn't really kind of grasp what was going on. I was really young back then, just kind of going along.
Now
and
you're
not
an old
really
fart.
Well, not so much as an old fart, but just not really of the mindset of, what are these people doing?
Yeah.
What is their real mission? And what are the good things they're doing? So I'd been to some Rotary meetings. I'd been to Rotary meetings with clubs that sing, and yeah, and I mean some clubs do. Our club doesn't. And it's just kind of like, what is this? What's going on? I didn't really question it too much outside of when I was there. So then when Bill asked me to come to the meeting, I was a little hesitant at first, kind of just wondering, how's this gonna go? Whoa, we're running into some technical difficulties here, ladies and gentlemen. I was wondering, how is this gonna go? What are they doing? And the first meeting that I came to, they were talking about at that time giving books to school children.
Oh, cool.
And I kind of brought me in a little bit, okay, here's what they're doing. This is what's going on. Here's some members of the club that I had known growing up and that I had met. And I'm like, oh, these people are in it. Okay, got it. This could be something for me because I know who these people are. I know who they are in the community. I'm coming in and going, oh, okay. It was a comfortable setting for me coming in because I knew people at the meeting. And then as we started talking and I started talking to some of the other members, I found out how it all got started. A couple people sitting around going, hey, we usually get together during the week. How can we make a difference? We've heard of Rotary. They had family members in Rotary. And I thought that was a neat concept, that it was just a couple people that wanted to make a difference. So they started a Rotary club. Well, that's what our Rotary club is. People who want to make a difference coming together and getting things done. So it was very interesting as well to be a member of a chartered club. So like a charter member of a club. So, because that is kind of rare in Rotary in general. I mean, not too often do clubs get started. So to go through that process of what is the identity of the club going to be? I mean, all that stuff was very interesting at the time. It's like, not only can I be a Rotarian and join these other people and millions of people around the world and what they're trying to do, it's, well, I can kind of help shape how this club's going to be with these other people that I know and that I'm friends with. So, but what drew me in, though, going back to that, not only with the school children in the books, was these people were just on fire. I mean, oh my gosh, you started hearing, we're going to do this. We're going to raise money for this. We're doing that. And I just went, Sold.
Yeah.
This is a thing I need to be a part of. The train's going that way. Jump on board.
Well, the cool thing about like especially with you grew up here. You had friends that you knew were in the group that you kind of saw. This person is somebody I grew up with. I know this person. I'm not from this area.
Oh yeah.
And so the cool thing that I instantly fell in love with was I kind of joined this community, and our group ended up being kind of like a family. It's kind of weird because now, you know, not growing up here, I now know somebody who does roofing, plumbers, financial advisors. I mean, every type of business available. I have a connection in the community now. So if I ever run into an issue, I've got that. And as far as like the fundraising and doing good projects in the community, you hit the nail on the head. You know, that's the paycheck for us is getting that hug and getting that handshake after we do something good in the community. That really kind of sold me on the club.
Okay. So that will kind of lead into the next thing I want to talk about is in Rotary, you meet a Rotarian. We'll tell you about Rotary and we'll tell you all the good things. We'll tell you about polio. We'll tell you about all this stuff. But then every Rotarian has what they deem as a Rotary moment. Okay. Where everything just clicks. You realize, and it doesn't have to happen right away before you join to be a member. Sometimes it can be a couple years in. So what is your Rotary moment?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
That's what we're going for here, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all right to cry. So when I first joined the club, it was a couple months in. One of the greatest projects that we still do to this day is the Thanksgiving Day baskets. So Mark Berry, Christine Evans, and now Tina Koch has taken it over. It's one of those deals where we collect food for 12 families in the Shiloh-O'Fallon area, which is what our group is based out of. And I don't know, I didn't know anybody in the community. I didn't know that people were in need as much as they were. So we would go to families and we would deliver this basket of food that could last people for the next 3 weeks, not just the Thanksgiving Day meal, but like, this is probably the most food that these people have seen. We had one family that the parents were addicted to drugs. So the grandparents said, you know what, I'm going to take these kids and we're going to raise these kids. And so we walked into our first house, my first house, delivering food.
Sure.
And these 5 young kids ranging in age from like 7 down to 3, 4, all walked up and were hugging me, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And you know, I don't cry easy. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
But it just became very apparent that these people needed help. And we went into another family. Woman lost her job, 3 kids, broken hip. We walked in. She has not been to a store in months. Did not know how they were going to feed their family. And so you get these stories, and each time it's another story, and it's another family that is your neighbor. I mean, I met people that live down the road from us that absolutely, I crab and complain because I don't, you know, they forgot pepperoni on my pizza, you know, and here's people who are in desperate need and not sure where they're going to get their meal. And they're our neighbors. They're right down the road. So after that day, we delivered 12 baskets to needy families. We all got together. We shared our stories of, you know, all the families that we helped. I left that day and I was totally bought in. I was like, you know, this is the right group. This is the group I wanted to join. And that was my Rotary moment. My first Rotary moment was being able to help these families in our community actually eat and get some decent food in them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, and that is such a wonderful project that our club does. I don't think many people in the club realize the impact. I mean, I hope people do, but I still think there's some people that are like, all right, this is what we do, because we're, you know, 5 years into it now. And it's like, oh yeah, this is what we do every Thanksgiving. We're kind of, this is the norm at this point. But when you walk into some of these homes, and meet these people, and you realize that, yeah, this is really changing their holiday as well as their life for the next couple weeks. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I had somebody who we delivered food to and then met them a year later in a different environment, and didn't even dawn on me who this person was, but she kind of gave me a look and gave me a quick hug and was like, thank you. And that was it. And then I kind of, the light bulb went off. I was, oh my God, that's so-and-so. So,
Right.
you know, it's one of those things you don't realize that these people you see every day, there are people out there struggling and need our help. So
Oh yeah.
it really, it gets you in the feels.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
100%. I mean,
So what about you, sir?
so I won't jump on your coattails too much, but seriously, the Rotary moment for me was the Thanksgiving baskets as well.
Oh, wow.
But like you mentioned, that was your first Rotary moment, and
Yeah.
there's been a couple
Oh,
for
yeah.
me as well. So I will go to my second Rotary moment, which was building a wheelchair ramp in Alton, Illinois,
Oh my goodness.
when it poured down rain and it was cold and we're all out there working. There were 2 people working in the house. Lucky them. I myself was digging trenches in the backyard so that the water would drain away from the back of their house and not seep into their basement anymore.
Yeah.
That was coming from the downspouts. That was my project. And then kind of went out front and then helped with the wheelchair ramp. But it was one of those things where it's like this person is kind of stuck in their house,
Yeah.
being bound to a wheelchair. And we just gave them all this freedom to be able to leave the house, to go outside on a nice day and just maybe sit out on the driveway, sit out and talk to neighbors, no longer just being bound into the house. That was a huge moment for me.
Yeah.
Being, whoa. And not thinking that, okay, every day when I get up to go to work on the weekends, all I do is just step outside and I'm there and I can go do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And then being able to help somebody maybe get a little bit of that into their life that's bound to a wheelchair. That was huge.
Yeah.
And then now, I mean, there's another one that we started with that, and we continue building wheelchair ramps. We've done
3 or 4.
3.
Yeah, 3.
3. So that's huge.
Yeah, and you know, you hit the nail on the head again too with that. Just being able to, you mentioned how people can go outside and talk to their neighbor, and I think we don't realize as a society, you know, who really. When we were growing up, we knew all of our neighbors. We knew everybody on the street. We knew, you know, you'd know who your neighbors are, and I think a lot of times now it's very rare that we actually know the person that lives a house down, 2 houses down.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they need help or what the story is or what, you know, we're all trying to get through this big world one way or another. Some people just need a helping hand every now and then.
Yeah.
Or even just somebody to come over and say hello. And
agree.
To be that person who is stuck in the house and can now get outside because of one of the wheelchair ramps. I think that's golden. I think that's another big reason for me to stay in the, you know, being a Rotarian and staying in the club is because the big payoff, you know, that person is going to say, hey, these Rotarians came and helped me out. And they were a part of this group that really just, I was stuck in the house and now I can get out and life is good.
Life is good.
Yeah. So that's a good story.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we got some good stories here today. So with the projects, with the club, with everything that we do, I know you talk about the big payoff and how that's a part of being in Rotary, but what do you feel is the biggest motivation for you inside of Rotary?
Wow, that's a good question. I think the biggest motivation for me is just to be that guy. I like having people say, well, okay, perfect example. Our grant project this year is going to be the Joseph Center. I never knew this place existed.
Sure.
Never in a million years. I have a friend who, I won't mention any names, who works is part of the VFW here in O'Fallon.
Okay.
Her name's Marcia, by the way.
Okay.
But she was looking, she said, you know, the Joseph Center in East St. Louis is a halfway house for veterans who are homeless, dealing with drug issues, alcohol issues, and are just trying to get back on track and deal with their life. So she approached me knowing that I'm a Rotarian and said, hey, you know, you're going to be the president next year. I have a project for you if you guys are interested. So one really cool thing that I never knew this group existed. We went down there, come to find out, this organization's doing amazing things for our veterans. Veterans we forgot about. Veterans that we have absolutely nothing to do with, that are homeless or on the streets, just struggling to get, even like we were saying, you know, just struggling to get by in day-to-day life. So our grant project, long story short, is that we are going to fix their back area of the Joseph Center. They are looking for some roof area so that they can go outside. They have family days where people who are in recovery and at the Joseph Center, the family can come and visit. Well, the state cut funding for them. The wonderful state of Illinois.
Yeah, well, but that's a whole separate podcast.
That's a whole nother story. But what ended up happening is through her and through her knowing that I'm a Rotarian, she was able to say, you know, she called the Boy Scouts, she called a couple of other organizations, and she was like, hey, I got this project, and nobody took it up. So this summer, we're going to be fixing their picnic tables, planting plants, cleaning that place up, building a shed area so that they can get shade, and just making that place beautiful for these vets because they absolutely deserve it 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that project. And
so the long story short of it is that's how, you know, that's kind of why being in the Rotarian, getting my name out there and having people know, hey, that Ken Cooley guy, he's somebody that we can rely on and we can kind of talk to, and hey, he does a lot of stuff. I can't tell you how many times people are like, hey, are you still collecting shoes? I'm like, all year.
All year.
Hey, are you guys still collecting food? As much as possible, you know. So that's the sell point, is that's how I kind of got snookered in, is I just want to be that guy when people are in need. They can say, hey, what, maybe Ken can help.
Right. So there's always that motivation
to
be that guy, make a difference,
be the hero.
Be the hero.
If you look around, if you look around and there's no heroes left in the world, be that hero.
Be that hero. Be that guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm a sucker for a cause.
No, I like it. And what you mentioned about the Joseph Center and how, oh, you didn't even know this place existed.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that it existed. And 10 minutes away from where we live is Scott Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And the military presence in our community is huge.
Yeah.
And yet a place like this can kind of fall to the back a little bit and kind of not be at the forefront of people's minds, and it really should be, especially in our community. And like you talked about, there are so many other places that are like that around here. We've had a lot of people come to meetings as guest speakers. We've had members of our club that bring ideas forward to us, and it's like, whoa, I didn't even know that existed. I mean, we've done events, and gone to all sorts of places. So for me, that's a huge part of being in Rotary, is that the learning experience and learning about all these places that I can go help these people. I can maybe go to one of their fundraisers. It might not even be us as Rotarians hosting a fundraiser or doing a service project, but if they're hosting a trivia night or some sort of fundraiser themselves, go show up.
Yeah, we went to a trivia night that was not too long ago, a couple of weeks back, that was for Rebuilding Together. They are a group that I would look them up. They're an amazing group. They are one of these groups. We talk about building the wheelchair ramps. This is the group that goes out there, matches us up with a vet or a person in need, and they will then take care of all of our legal stuff. That's like permits and donations, getting stuff involved so that we can build these ramps, so that we don't have to worry about, getting whatever permits and legalese and all that stuff. They handle all of that. So if I think every couple of times a year, you'll see the local people will see the commercial from Charter that talks about rebuilding together, and they have a rebuild together day where you can go out and help a family. I'm going back to another story, and you're going to get stuck with stories all day.
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
One of the rebuilds we did, there was a house in St. Louis that it was a mother, grandmother, and 3 young daughters.
Mm-hmm.
It was just them. They had a 3-story house that was dilapidated. They had a hole in the side of the roof of the house where birds could come into the house, and not having the money to fix it, they just closed that bedroom door.
Right.
So, they called rebuild and said, hey, here's our situation. And so you're always worried about going into these situations, whether this is a situation where people actually need our help or it's just, hey, I'm getting free stuff. I have never, for me personally, if somebody's asking for help, I get to be able to say, hey, I would rather, I sleep at night because I'm going to go help that person. If it's somebody that doesn't necessarily need help, it's so be it. So they had the hole in the house. The plumbing was leaking. The front door was cracked in because somebody tried to rob them. There was a whole ton, a list of stuff that just need to be done. Rebuilding together, got the permits together, got a bunch of stuff as far as the legalese, permits, supplies. These guys were amazing. And I learned how to drywall, which is
not easy.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. But we fixed the roof, we fixed the ceiling, we fixed the front door, we fixed the plumbing, and these people, their community got together, made a whole bunch of food for everybody. So by the end of the day, it was like a community effort. And again, I don't cry easy, but okay, that's but that's just another one of these stories that because I'm a Rotarian, I was able to do. So big shout out to Rebuilding Together and Miss Savannah for hooking us up.
Big shout out to Rebuilding Together.
Numerous occasions.
Great partner for us.
Yeah.
We love working with those guys.
So you have that look like, oh boy, here comes.
No. It's not anything like that. But if you could, I don't know, describe how you feel or what you feel the current state of Rotary is for you. So not only just within our club, but what we see going on kind of regionally, maybe internationally.
That's an awesome question.
What are your thoughts?
So we live in here in O'Fallon, we live in a military area.
Right.
We are spoiled here because we have 3 clubs. First club, Sunset or Sunrise, it meets in the morning. The O'Fallon Rotary Club of O'Fallon, kind of like the Ohio State. They meet at lunchtime and we meet in the evening. So we've got everything covered. But we do live in a military area. So a lot of our turnover, especially in our group, seems to be, you'll have somebody here for 3 years and then they'll leave and go on to another assignment. Or whatever. Right. So the state of Rotary seems it's getting smaller. There are not enough, in my opinion, we are not creating enough heroes.
Okay.
So I will tell stories to people about Rotary and what we do, and everybody's like, hey, that's awesome. And 9 times out of 10 people will help. But to get somebody to be a Rotarian and realize we're not a stonecutters club, we're not a secret society, we're just, you and I are just average Joes, is a little tough. And I think that it's the customer speech. We get a lot of people in the front door, and it's keeping them in and keeping them in the club.
Yeah, how do we get them to be?
How do we get them to stick around?
How do we get reoccurring customers?
Yeah. I think we're doing it the right way. I think that by doing all of the projects that we do, and you will see there are different degrees of Rotarianism. I like to call certain Rotarians hammer swingers. Those are the folks I love. And I don't mean just by hammers, but we have people in our group who love painting. We have people who love gardening. It's just a matter of trying to keep people as Rotarians and finding these heroes in our community, because I know you guys are out there.
Oh, yeah. We know you're out there.
We know you're out there.
You can't hide from us.
So because of the X-ray vision. But but I'm hoping that, as you know, I think I've said this earlier, but I'm taking over as president this coming season.
Correct.
So I'm hoping that a lot of people who realize all the good stuff that I try to do in the community will see that and be like, oh, I want to help Ken. Those are the selling points. And I think that as Rotarians around the globe, I noticed that, that's kind of the same story with all the other groups as well. We get a lot of people in, but we also get a lot of people that leave.
Sure.
So it's just a constant rotation. I'm hoping we can kind of build our membership that way, and just by selling the story.
Sure. And one of the unique things, actually, there's a couple of unique things, I take that back, about our club is that, one, our club is dominated by women.
That's true. Yeah, we have we're a little bit of a different group. Our club has more women than men in it right now. And I want to say it's like 54% women right now.
Correct.
And the worst part is that's rare. That is
right.
There are plenty of women out there who are hammer swingers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Paintbrush people who will go out there on a drop of a hat, and I can say, hey, can we get this done? And they are all over it. So my vision of Rotary is that it's a hodgepodge of people of many cultures, races, and backgrounds that can help out everybody at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and it's also our club. We're a little unique as well because we go outside of some of the Rotary norms, as if, like we talked about this earlier, that we don't sing at our meetings. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a different story. But we don't follow the kind of the traditions of some of the Rotary clubs that are out there.
Yeah.
And that we do meet in the evening, so we have the ability at our meetings, if you want to come, you can grab a bite to eat. You can also grab an adult beverage if you so choose to do that. So we kind of leave that door open as an environment to say, hey, come relax with us, but also do some good. And our club kind of is, we did have more of a younger age group as a median age, with some of the turnover that you speak of that we've gone through. I believe that's kind of we've gotten away from that.
Yeah,
we did have a kind of a core that was a real young group. So that brings me to the next point, that within Rotary, it's hard to get younger members in and to keep them coming back. And it's not for a lack of trying on our part, which is why we're sitting here today doing this, not only doing a podcast, but for our meetings, we've also live stream our meetings on Facebook Live. We have a very heavy Facebook presence. We try to do things to engage younger members as our social events per se, and some of the projects that we choose to get involved in. But yet it just seems like, and we know this, and we've talked about this a lot, that everybody's busy.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to work all day, you come home, are you going to devote that 1 hour to trying to give back to your community? It's a hard selling point for people that have kids, for people that have other hobbies. Do you have to cut your grass? I mean, it's just one of those things where trying to find the time, it's hard. And we as Rotarians understand that, but we also, it can be done. We're saying it can be done, and that you can really make a difference.
Well, it's funny you say that. So here's my old man gripe of the week.
Oh boy.
One of the worst songs in the history of songs, in the history of music, is John Mayer. He's got this song out that was out a few years back, but it's called "Waiting for the World to Change." And every time I heard this song, it just ticked me off, because the song is basically saying, hey, there's a lot of crap going on, a lot of problems in the world that are, but you know what? I'm just going to sit here and wait for the world to change.
Sure.
And so I think there's that mentality of, well, I maybe it's not me. I'm just going to sit back and wait and hope.
Sure.
But again, I point to, you want to be the hero. You want stuff to change. You want to get out and even we won't go into big politics, but whoever you vote for, if you like one guy or you don't like the other guy, get out and change it. Go figure out what needs to be done in your community. If there's a world issue, you as one human being can make a difference. And I think that, I was going to curse at John Mayer.
Oh, don't do that. Let's not do that.
But I think he hit the nail on the head with kind of that apathy of, I'm waiting for the world to change. I don't want to wait for the world to change. I'm done waiting for the world to change. I want to change it right now.
Right. And we had a president, and when Bill was our president, who used to preach this at almost every meeting, because if you take a look at your life and the things that you like to do, so maybe it is you like to have a couple drinks, maybe you like to go out to eat a couple times during the week, maybe you like to buy lottery tickets, maybe you like to, whatever that reoccurring thing is in your life, take a minute, say, what if I don't do that this week? Or what if I cut back once per week? What would the cost of that be in savings to me? And then add that up for the month. And if you donated that money to charity, any charity of your choosing, you could make a really big difference throughout the whole year. We're talking hundreds of dollars that you could be giving to a good cause. And if you can just then start to do the whole, multiply that out by, okay, now I do it. I tell you that I do it. Now you do it. And then you tell your friends and they do it. And then they tell their friends. The whole world can make a difference, and everybody has that ability. It's just, you got to get there, and you got to get that little mindset that, maybe I could cut this back a little bit. And then guess what? Now I did find the money that I could donate to charity, because maybe not everybody's financially in a spot that they can do that, but you never know. If you think about it and you really try to think about how you want to make a difference and who you want to make a difference with, you can do it. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities to do that, because what it boils down to is that Rotary in itself, and the reason that we're Rotarians, I mean, it's a volunteer organization. Yeah. I mean, we are here to volunteer, and we get involved on any level that you want to get involved in. So the same thing goes for your life. Whatever you want to be involved in, get involved in it.
Yeah.
If you want to go neck deep into your job and you are the best person at your job, awesome. If you want to go neck deep into Rotary and you want to be the Rotarian, you can be that person.
Yeah.
And you can really make a difference.
So, but getting back to this, and I will say this, that Grandma Cooley, God rest her soul, if she found out that I wasn't buying my lottery tickets, would probably smack me in the back of the head from the grave. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, even just putting $1 away, and even just donating $10 to a cause for the cause of your choosing. I'm not even saying Rotary. Just figure out what is your something that gets you in the feels, and you're able to kind of make it work for you. $10 a year can go huge. It can go such a long way. And even with, like, I won't get into the Rotary situation, but we can change, with Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, that foundation, they will for every $1, they'll donate $2 more for what we do. So, I mean, there's ways to make money grow, and you can turn that $10 into $30. And I mean, there's ways to do it.
Yeah. And like you said, with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I mean, we are, and I think it was a couple years ago. I mean, that close, we all had that, Rotary is this close to having polio be eradicated.
Yeah. And
I mean, I don't have the official numbers in front of me right now
next time
for this year. And we'll talk about that. We'll try to get that on the books for next time. But I mean, we're darn close.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much Rotarians had to do with that. You know, the involvement of going down and making sure they were giving shots and donating money. And when Bill and Melinda Gates got involved, you know, that really stepped it up.
Oh yeah.
So you know, it's amazing just what your $1 a day or your $10 a day can do. And I'm not a guy who likes to spend money. I will.
Sure.
I will save money. You could ask my wife. She doesn't want it. She wants to buy. I do not. But your $10 to whatever cause, you know, don't wait on the world to change was my little speech.
Sure.
Just do what you got to do and change it now.
Yeah. And if that means becoming a Rotarian to you, or if you're out there watching this, or you get this video and you are still with us at this point, we hope that you're kind of getting the theme of what we're talking about here, is that you can be a hero in someone's life without really ever knowing it.
Yeah.
And you could show up at their house and give them a basket of food, and you then will have that moment and you will know that you're somebody's hero. Yeah. And then, I mean, good gosh, get out there and make a difference. Yeah. I mean, you can do it. And so, like we were talking about with, you know, people being busy and being, you know, and trying to get younger members in, is kind of that perception of what a Rotarian is, or what Rotary is. Because I have gone up to people and I've said, hey, you know, I'm in Rotary, why don't you come to our fundraiser? So what do you guys do with cars? Okay, no, we're not a Rotary club like that. That's not what Rotary means. You know, and then, oh, you know, my dad or my grandpa was in Rotary, and that's not for me. You know, how do you know that's not for you? Yeah. You know, there's this mindset that we kind of got to break through with some people that might have that, oh, that was for my dad, that was for my grandpa. Yeah. That's for, you know, somebody else. It's not for me. Or I don't even know what you guys even do. What is Rotary? Well, that's what we're trying to do here a little bit, and especially what we're trying to do a little bit here today, because we have seen the power in this day and age of social media. Oh yeah. And like why we started doing our club meetings live on Facebook. One is so that our members, you know, wouldn't miss out on anything, because you can always go back and check out a meeting. But it's also, I get on there, I share a meeting, or I tell people that I'm at Rotary. Maybe they log in for 5 minutes. Yeah. And maybe they see something that they like. Or we've been out at fundraisers, and Ken and I throw together a 1-minute little, hey, we're down here trying to fundraise, doing this and that. Come join us. Come buy some ice cream. Come buy a sandwich. Do this or that. And then all of a sudden that video has 500 views. Yeah. And it's like, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's what we're trying to engage people, to let them know this is the good in the world. It's out there. Come join us. Be a Rotarian.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because we actually have a fundraiser coming up, and it's a simple fundraiser. This coming Thursday, you can go to Culver's in O'Fallon, or O'Fallon, Fairview Heights.
It's in O'Fallon.
It's on that. Because the town line.
Correct.
O'Fallon, from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock this Thursday, and they're donating a percentage of all the sales back to our club. So I mean, it's you don't even have to do anything. Just go eat.
Come eat.
You know, come eat, and you'll be doing good in the community by doing so. And
right.
That's this coming Thursday. And what is that? May 11, 12?
Somewhere 13. In there.
He's
got a calendar.
May 11th.
May 11th, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, if you come down to Culver's in O'Fallon between 5 and 8 on May 11th, man, you're doing good in the community. And you're getting a double. With cheese and bacon.
Right.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah, you can't go wrong there. So we'll try to start wrapping this up a little bit here. I don't want to go too long. Want people to watch the entire video. Want them to get engaged. Obviously, this is episode 1 of this podcast.
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Rotarian. Yeah. We will we will try to do this podcast, or not try. We're going to do this podcast once a month. If there's any demand for it, we can obviously bump that schedule up a little bit and go twice a month, 3 times a month, 3 times a week, whatever you guys want. We will make this happen. And we're going to start having some guests come in. We have, in my opinion, a vast knowledge when it comes to Rotary with some of the people that we know.
We're spoiled.
We are very spoiled when it comes to Rotary. We have some district governors. We have some past district governors that are going to blow your mind with the knowledge of Rotary and things that Rotary's doing, things that they've done, and the stories that they have from their travels. And it's going to be really awesome. So really looking forward to kind of getting this podcast going, getting some guests in here. Ken and I will be your hosts on every podcast. So if you don't like that, sorry for you. What you see is what you get. So thank you, sir.
Oh, before I let you go.
Oh boy.
There's a couple things I just want to point out. You can come to any one of our meetings. You can come to 100 meetings. We will never force you to join our group. Come check us out. We meet Thursdays at the KC Hall. Although this Thursday, obviously, go to Culver's.
Correct.
But we will never force you to join our club. We just want you to hear about us, hear what we're doing in the community, and kind of figure that out from there. If you are doing good stuff in the community, reach out to us. Let us know. We want to talk about it. We want to hear about it. You don't have to be a Rotarian.
We want to have you on the podcast. Come talk about what you're doing.
Yeah, so you can check us out on YouTube. You can email us through YouTube.
Or you can email us at 2Rotarians, and that's the number 2 Rotarians@gmail.com.
Yeah, so that's perfect. And I really feel like if you're watching this podcast for the first time, and you're even like people from back home, for me, who haven't seen me in years and are like, holy cow, what has that guy been up to?
Yeah.
Go check out Rotary. Make a difference in your community. You don't have to. You'd be surprised what you can get done with the power of one and the power of many.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it can even be, share this video. If you watch this video, go out and share it, and then tell people to share it. And who knows, maybe we could have a huge presence, and we'll get some people maybe internationally that could watch this. Yeah. And then that's how our club, or you, we would obviously let our viewers know that we could kind of partner with somebody to do an international service project that maybe they're looking help for, or maybe we're looking for some help, and we can get some partners, and we can get these relationships to start being established because of this and what we're doing here.
So the last thing I'll say, and then I'll leave it back to you, is anytime you see me or our group doing a service project, you want to be involved, you're not a Rotarian, I don't care. Hit us up. We would love, if you can swing a hammer, you're a carpenter, you're whatever, you don't know anything, we will find something to do for you. And like the Joseph Center project, does that sound like something you're sitting on your couch watching this right now? Is that something that you think you would want to do? Hit us up. We'll make sure that happens. We'll get you involved. You don't have to be a member of a group to do any of the service projects that we do. Now, I'll leave it at that.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You do not have to be a member. Come join us. We would love for you to be a member, and we'd love for you to kind of realize what this Rotary thing is and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because you will get the good feels, as this guy calls it.
The feels.
You will get the feels, and you will make a difference. So we'll go ahead and wrap this episode up, and we'll tackle this again next month. But
so what the thought process is, we're going to try to pick a date for
we'll pick
a little more steady.
Yeah, we'll pick a date, and we'll let everybody know if it's like the first Wednesday of a month or whatever that date's going to be. We'll let everybody know. Sunday, this was a little bit off on our schedule. We normally won't be doing these on the weekends, I would imagine, but playoff hockey, it's that time of year. It's that time of year. So yeah.
But yeah, hit us up. You got questions, send an email. You can do a comment on the video.
Leave us a comment.
As well. Leave us a comment. We will always get back to you. If you got questions, we'll read them on the air. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about.
All right. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Appreciate the time.
I love it, man.
We look forward to doing this. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, everybody.